Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. It's Angela from Bake Angel. Easter is almost here, and if like us you're a dairy-free family, it's very hard to find dairy-free hot cross buns. I've got you covered in this video. We're going to make a giant hot cross bun just like this one. You can see all those gorgeous raisins inside, and I'm going to show you how incredibly easy it is to make. Let's get to it. So we're going to start the process by adding 250 grams of all-purpose flour to our stand mixer bowl. And then we're going to add in our sugar, yeast, nutmeg, cinnamon and salt. Now all the measurements for this will be included in the recipe link, which is in the description below, so make sure you check that out once you finish watching this video. And straight away you get all that nice smell from the spices. Next we're going to add our 25 grams of melted butter, 150 ml of warmed milk, and I'm using a plant-based milk here. And then we're going to give it a mix together with the dough hook on the stand mixer. So we'll just get that attached and give it a stir. Now as it starts to combine, you can actually turn the mixer up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that so everything will combine together. And that's enough for now. The last thing we need to do is add the rest of the ingredients, which is our dried fruit and our apple sauce. I'm just going to take this off of the hook. Going to give the bowl a scrape down. And then pop in those last few ingredients. So here I have 100 grams of dried fruit, and I'm actually using golden raisins and currants. You can check out the suggestions of other things you could add in my recipe as well. Lastly, we're going to add 50 grams of applesauce. And that's just half of one of these handy snack pot containers that you can buy. So let's get that stirred in. Now you can see that that is starting to combine together. Now we added some liquid into it, and what we're going to do is turn this up and let it knead for 5 minutes. Now as it's doing that, the gluten's going to activate. We're going to start to see some stringiness forming in the dough as well, so let's speed it up and let it mix for 5 minutes. So it's been mixing for about 2.5 minutes. I'm just going to quickly show you the change in consistency. So you can see the gluten is starting to activate. We've got some stringy bits appearing. It's getting quite loose as well. So what I'm going to do is just scrape this down, push everything back to the middle of the bowl, and then we'll let it finish off for the last couple of minutes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's the 5 minutes done. Again, you can see all that stringiness from the activation of the gluten, and it is really sticky at this point. So what we're going to do now is transfer it to another bowl so that we can actually pop it in a warm place to prove for about 1.5 hours. I'm just going to use a spatula to get all of this off. You could use your hands as well if you wanted to. Give the bowl a scrape down. Now you will sometimes get some of the loose bits of dried fruit. Just make sure that they go in the bowl with it, because we can incorporate them at a later stage. Perfect, so I'm going to move this. We can take our bowl off. So then I have another bowl here that I'm going to use for the proving. Now I'm going to actually do that in my oven as well, so that's why I'm using a stainless steel one. Just want to grease it lightly. And then pop the dough in. Make sure you get all those last bits out. We don't want to waste any of this dough. Perfect. So make sure when you do this, you just roughly eyeball in your head. Remember the size that it is, because we want this to double in size. So it's going to be, I guess, up to about here when it's actually ready. Then the last thing we need to do is cover it with some plastic wrap, or you could use a tea towel as well if you're leaving it out somewhere warm. Okay, so I'm going to pop this on. We'll need a second piece as well, just because it is such a large bowl. Okay, so it's ready to go for its first proof. And as I said, I'm going to pop mine in the oven for this stage. If you don't have a proven option on your oven, then just pop it somewhere near an air vent, near a radiator, in an airing cupboard if you have one of those. And check it after about 60 to 75 minutes. It may be done at that point, but it should definitely be done by 90 minutes overall. Okay, so the first proof time is over. Let's peel this back, we can have a look. So you can see straight away how much it's grown over that period of time. It's quite springy as well, and it does feel like it dries out a bit once it proves. So you can see it's easy to move around now. Lots of nice gluten strands here as well. So what we're going to do is pop it onto a floured surface, give it a quick knead, and then we're going to prove it again. Okay, so now we're going to get the dough tipped out onto our counter. Let's give it a helping hand. There we go. So you can see how all that dough just relaxes. There's lots of nice stretchiness to it with the gluten. Now we're going to just give it a quick knead. So you'll see this time that it does all stick together really nicely. The fruit doesn't fly out this time. So give it a quick knead. And then we're going to pop it back in the bowl for its second proof. And same as before, we're just going to cover it with plastic wrap and then pop it back in a warm place for 30 minutes this time. So whilst the hot cross bun is finishing proving for the second time, we're just going to quickly make up the slurry. And this is what we use to make the cross on top. And all we have is 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of water, and we're just going to combine them until we get a pipeable mixture. So I'll give it a stir. And this will allow us to give that distinctive cross to the top of the hot cross bun. You want to make sure it's fully combined. We don't want any lumps in it. There we go. So again, it's just flour and water, and then once it's stirred up, we're going to pop it in our piping bag, ready to pipe the cross on top of our hot cross bun. And to put it in the piping bag, we're just going to move this to one side. I've got a small mason jar, one of my tipless piping bags. Pop it in the jar, and then you can just spoon in the mixture. There we go. Take the bag out of the mason jar, Give it a squeeze down. And then we can actually tie it. We want to make sure that that slurry doesn't come out the other end. And there we go, that's ready to pipe on our hot cross bun. Okay, so second proof is done. Let's take a look. So that's risen really well again for us. So now I'm just going to pop it onto the counter again. And this time we don't really need it. What we're going to do is, this is the shape and the size actually that we want for our hot cross bun. So we're going to pop it on a greased baking tray, then we can pipe our cross on it. So a little bit of grease on the tray. We can pop this on top, just give it a bit of a reshape. And then we're just going to cut a tiny piece off of the piping bag and pipe our cross. So you want to start. Now you can see it's quite runny, but that's okay. And then here we can go back and tidy up those bits. And over this side. There we go. And I'll just use a spoon to tidy this bit up. Perfect. So now all we need to do is bake. This is going to go back in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for between 30 and 35 minutes. So we'll come back once it's baked. Okay, so our hot cross bun is finished. Pop this down. So you can see it's risen really nicely. It's got a nice golden color to it as well. That cross is nice and visible. Now it's cooled a little bit, but I am gonna just tip it over. So that's the kind of sound that you want to hear. It should be very similar to that when you just want to check that it's baked. The last thing we need to do with this is add our apricot glaze to it. And all I've done is taken a tablespoon of apricot jam and I've just warmed it up in the microwave. So let's get that brushed on. This is going to give it that really nice shine. A little bit of extra sweetness on top too. Make sure you just brush it all over the top and sides. And the lovely thing about this hot cross bun loaf is that you can actually cut it up and toast it, which is something a little bit different to do, and then add jam to it or even just some nice butter as well. Really is a nice different way of serving hot cross buns. To store this, you can just keep it at room temperature in an airtight container or wrap it in foil. Keep it on the counter for a couple of days, but you'll probably find that it won't actually last that long. So there we go, there's our finished hot cross bun loaf. Hope you've enjoyed watching this bake along. Now don't forget to check the description below where you'll find the full link to the recipe and everything you need to recreate one of these yourself. And let me know in the comments as well whether you're a fan of hot cross buns and would try this giant one. As always, happy baking, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.